if someone's thinking about mobile first marketing and they want to either transform their marketing strategy into a mobile first strategy, or if they are currently in that model right now but they want to optimize it, what are some best practices for a mobile first marketing strategy?
Great question, Brandon. The first thing I would say is be ready to make trade-offs. There's no such thing as free lunches, and you just got to make those trade-offs. But if you are not thinking and operating that way, then you'll pay the consequence in the future. And to be fair, like we're not the pioneers of mobile marketing, mobile first marketing, right? Companies like Facebook really took a stand on developing for mobile first and moving their whole company in that direction. We're kind of the latecomers to the party from a tech perspective. But that's the first thing. The trade-offs. What I mean with trade-offs is, well, you just gotta recognize and acknowledge where your customers are spending time. Once that you understand where your customers are spending time, you'll realize that marketplaces and mobile environments, at least to date, can be more expensive. And can be more expensive because market dynamics are different, because the cost per clicks might be different, and they're going to vary tremendously from country to country and from region to region, right? There are some more advanced regions where the marketing mobile ecosystems are very different. Like if we're talking about what we do and my team does with environments in Japan, you've got to take into consideration Line as an environment, or in Korea, Naber as a platform. Everywhere else is going to be highly driven by Google, for sure. But you gotta make sure that when you're designing mobile first marketing, you have a mobile first product to deliver to your customer expectations, right? And I guess it depends on what your business is all about and which industry you operate in. But for sure, if you are operating in the online world, and certainly if you are operating in a two-sided kind of platform ecosystem as we do, where you have consumers at one end and hotel partners and airlines and cars, et cetera, on the other end, you have to tweak that engine, and you got to tweak that engine with a mobile first approach. If you tweak one side of the engine with one lens and the other one with another lens, then things break. They don't break. They just cost a lot of money because you're not optimizing your marketing spend as much as you could.
Right, you're hedging on both sides. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. So that's that. I touched on a couple of things there, which are trade-offs and acknowledging the relationship between marketing and product. The third thing, and I think it's all encompassing, is design, right? And it's all encompassing. And I say it's all encompassing because design touches marketing, touches product. But it's not the message that you would deliver in a mobile platform is not necessarily different to the message per se. When you talk about specifically about apps, it might be different, right? But per se is not necessarily different to the message that you would deliver on desktop, but the experience will be different. The design of the customer experience will be significantly different. How you optimize those landing page experiences in order to optimize your return on ad spend, in order to optimize the delivery of your product, of your service, will be dramatically different. And if you try to do both, so there are two things very critical for me. If you try to do both, as in you try to put the same weight into one or the other, as in desktop and mobile, as I said, you might fail. You need to trade off. But also, very importantly, you cannot assume that as the world has gone mobile, then delivering the same experience in a platform agnostic way is going to solve the problem. And that's what makes it challenging. You still gotta acknowledge that cross-device behavior, but go and develop mobile unique experiences for your customers. And once that you have that experience designed, then the bidding, the automation, the algorithms that allow you to optimize your marketing spend. That's the least of the concerns. That just takes, again, time and iteration to continue for the machine to learn and get better at particularly on bidding platforms. But it's connecting the customer, depending on which part of the journey it is, with the shopping intent, with how they're going to resonate with that message, with where the experience they're going to land, is what really drives mobile first everything. Unless you see it in that lens, you won't be able to solve a customer problem.
Right. Okay, got it. And as you were explaining that, one of the things you were explaining was creating those mobile specific journeys for the customer. When you're having those conversations, you actually sit down in those meetings when you're the marketing stakeholder sitting with the product stakeholder, sitting with other stakeholders in the room for Eng or whatever the orgs need to be in that conversation, or they happen chronologically back to back, whatever. What input should marketing have, and how much input should marketing have in those discussions around the actual customer journey creation?
Yeah, love it. We're just going through all of that right now. Well,
good.
First of all, if you're going to go and talk to a customer or set of customers or the world about what do you stand for, you're going to deliver it on your product, right? So the world in which product develops product and then we find a way of market it, I don't think it's successful anymore. So marketing should help define what do we stand for as a company, what do we stand for as a product, what customer problems solve, what benefits we provide to the customer. And that is based on user research, that is based on being close and having full understanding of the ecosystem and environment and marketplace that you're operating in. And once that you fully understand that and you articulate that value proposition, then you come up with products that will fulfill that, right? One of the biggest mistakes that I've seen is what I mentioned at the beginning. It's the opposite. It's like, well, we build this great product. Marketing, go and find a way of selling. Come up with a value proposition. I'm not saying that hasn't worked. In today's world, that tends to fail.